Gulf Cartel targets. Border outpost. Unaware station chief is former special forces. The rising sun cast long shadows across the dusty ground of the Rio Grande Valley border station. The first light of dawn painted the sky in shades of amber and gold, reflecting off the metal fencing that stretched into the distance. Station Chief Marcus Reeves stood alone at the edge of the outdoor observation post, binoculars in hand, scanning the horizon with practiced precision. His weathered face revealed little emotion as he surveyed the familiar landscape. 20 years in the Army's most elite units had taught him to mask his thoughts, to maintain the calm exterior that had kept him alive through 3 wars and countless operations that would never appear in any official record. Now those same skills served him in a different kind of battleground, the southern border where desperation, hope, and criminal enterprise collided daily. The radio at his hip crackled to life. "Chief, we've got new intel coming in from Sector 6. Increased activity overnight. Looks coordinated." Reeves brought the radio to his lips. "Copy that, Rivera. I'll be right in." He took one final look at the distant mountains of Mexico, feeling the familiar pressure in his gut. The sensation that had warned him of danger in Kandahar, Mosul, and a dozen other places whose names most Americans would never know. Something was different today. The usual patterns had shifted. Inside the station's command center, the morning briefing was already underway. Reeves slipped in quietly, nodding to his senior officers as he took his position at the head of the table. Agent Carmen Rivera, his intelligence specialist and second in command, continued her presentation without missing a beat. Drone footage from Aero 300 hours shows 3 separate convoys moving along these routes, she said, pointing to the digital map projected on the wall. Not typical smuggling paths, they're too exposed, and they're traveling in groups of 3 vehicles, maintaining consistent spacing. Reeves studied the footage, his mind automatically calculating distances, analyzing formation patterns. "Military precision," he said quietly. "Those aren't random smugglers. Those are trained operators." The room fell silent as the other agents turned to look at their chief. In the 6 months since Reeves had taken command of the station, they'd learned to trust his assessments. Though few knew the details of his background before joining Border Patrol, rumors circulated about special forces operations, classified missions, skills that went far beyond standard military training. "The Gulf Cartel has been quiet lately," Agent Dominic Torres offered. "Too quiet. We've seen a 60% drop in activity in our sector over the last month." "They're planning something," Reeves concluded. "Rivera, get me everything we have on recent Gulf Cartel movements. Torres, I want extra patrols on the eastern perimeter, but keep it subtle. If they're watching us, I don't want them to know we're onto them." As the team dispersed to their assignments, Agent Jack Chen, the station's communications specialist, approached with a tablet in hand. "Chief, we've got an unusual transmission intercept. Encrypted, but we managed to pull fragments. Mentions of La Estacion and a time window, 1300 to 1700 hours today." Reeves took the tablet, scanning the partial transcript. "They're talking about us," he said, eyes narrowing. "This station specifically." "Sir," Chen hesitated, "there's something else." The transmission mentioned the ghost multiple times. Reeves felt a cold weight settle in his stomach. The ghost, a nickname he hadn't heard in years, one earned during operations so classified that most of the files would remain sealed for decades. A name whispered by enemy combatants in the mountains of Afghanistan. A phantom they feared would appear from nowhere, leaving only silence behind. "Could be coincidence," Reeves said evenly, betraying nothing in his expression. "Keep monitoring. I want to know every transmission, every movement." As Chen returned to his station, Reeves moved to the window overlooking the processing center. Below, families sat on benches, children clutching stuffed animals, parents filling out paperwork, all following the legal pathways to asylum or immigration. His hand unconsciously touched the badge on his chest, so different from the Special Forces insignia he had once worn with pride. When he'd left the military after 22 years of service, many had expected him to join a private security firm or defense contractor, places where his unique skill set would command a high price. Instead, he'd chosen Border Patrol, specifically requesting this station in one of the busiest sectors. Not for the action, as some assumed, but because here he could protect those who truly needed protection. Families seeking refuge, children fleeing violence, people following legal channels to a better life. The irony wasn't lost on him. After Decker, the door opened behind him, and Rivera entered with a thick file folder. "Sir, compiled intelligence on Gulf Cartel operations over the past 6 months. There's a pattern we missed." Reeves spread the documents across his desk. Activity maps, informant reports, surveillance photos, all revealing a gradual, systematic testing of border defenses across multiple stations. But the Rio Grande Valley station had received special attention. "They've been probing us," Reeves observed, "testing response times, patrol patterns, identifying blind spots." Rivera nodded, "Like they're gathering intelligence for something bigger. And there's more. 3 of their lieutenant-level operatives have been spotted in the area in the past week, including this man." She placed a photo on top of the pile. The image showed a man in his 40s with a military-style haircut and the rigid posture of someone with formal training. "Alejandro Vega," Reeves read from the file. "Former Mexican Special Forces, now running operations for the Gulf Cartel's enforcement arm." "You know him?" Rivera asked, noticing the recognition in her chief's eyes. Reeves kept his expression neutral. "I know the type. Military training, probably became disillusioned, decided cartel money was better than a soldier's pay." What he didn't say was that he recognized not just the type, but the specific tactical approaches outlined in the reports. Vega was using modified versions of the same techniques Reeves himself had once taught to Mexican Special Forces during joint training operations nearly a decade ago. "There's one more thing," Rivera added hesitantly. "Local informants report the Gulf Cartel is working with someone new. An American, ex-military. They only have a code name, the Hunter." Reeves felt his jaw tighten. If the Hunter was who he suspected, things had just become much more complicated. Some ghosts from the past were better left buried. The radio on his desk crackled. "Chief, this is Torres at the East Gate. We've got a delivery truck here that's not on the schedule. Driver has paperwork, but something feels off." "On my way," Reeves responded. He turned to Rivera. "Continue analyzing those patterns. I want to know what they're planning and when." At the East Gate, Agent Torres stood beside a white panel truck with commercial logos for a cleaning supply company. The driver, a young man in a company uniform, shifted nervously from foot to foot. "Papers show he's delivering cleaning supplies," Torres explained quietly as Reeves approached. "But we didn't order anything, and the manifest doesn't match our usual vendors." Reeves nodded, then approached the driver with a casual smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Morning. Mind if we take a look in the back?" The driver's right hand twitched slightly, a micro movement that might have gone unnoticed by someone without Reeves's training. "No problem, sir, but I'm on a tight schedule with other deliveries." "This won't take long," Reeves assured him, all the while noting the man's elevated breathing, the slight sheen of sweat despite the mild morning temperature. Inside the truck, cardboard boxes were stacked neatly against the walls. Too neatly. Reeves had seen this before, in houses in Baghdad that concealed weapons caches, in mountain outposts in Afghanistan, hiding communication equipment. The precise spacing, the too perfect arrangement. He pulled out his phone and texted Rivera, "Need K9 unit at East Gate." priority. While waiting, Reeves kept the driver engaged in casual conversation, asking about his route, the company, ordinary. Questions that revealed subtle inconsistencies in the man's story. Within minutes, Agent Rivera arrived with Marco, the station's explosives detection dog. Just a routine inspection, Reeves explained calmly to the increasingly agitated driver. We do these randomly. Marco worked methodically through the truck, his trained nose examining each box until suddenly his behavior changed near the front of the cargo area. The dog sat rigidly, his trained signal unmistakable. False wall, Reeves said quietly to Rivera. Classic setup. A more thorough inspection revealed a hidden compartment built into the truck's floor. It was empty, but recently used. Traces of electronic equipment still detectable. Surveillance gear, Rivera confirmed after examining the residue. High-end stuff. The driver was detained for questioning, though Reeves suspected he was merely a pawn, someone paid to deliver the truck without knowing its true purpose. The real question was what had been removed from the compartment and where it was now. Back in his office, Reeves reviewed the morning's events with Rivera. The wall behind them displayed maps of the border sector, marked with recent activity and intelligence reports. They placed surveillance equipment inside our station, Rivera concluded. They've been watching us, learning our procedures, our weaknesses, and now they're moving to the next phase, Reeves added. The convoys, the encrypted communications, bringing in their special operators. They're preparing for something big. But what? Rivera asked. Cartels usually avoid direct confrontation with federal facilities. Too much heat. Before Reeves could answer, Chen burst into the office, his usually calm demeanor visibly shaken. Chief, 3 perimeter cameras just went dark. Simultaneous failure. Reeves was on his feet immediately. Location. Western perimeter. They form a triangle around what would be a blind spot in our surveillance coverage. They're creating an entry point, Reeves finished. This isn't random. Rivera, contact local law enforcement for backup. Chen, full diagnostic on those cameras, and get me satellite coverage of that sector. In the command center, Reeves studied the pattern of disabled cameras. The tactical approach was clear to his trained eye. He'd used similar methods himself when leading infiltration teams in hostile territory. Local sheriff's department is 20 minutes out, Rivera reported. FBI has been notified. Reeves watched the screens where static had replaced the usual surveillance feed. In the processing center below, families continued their paperwork, unaware of the gathering threat. Dr. Eliana Mendez, the station's medical officer, approached with clipboard in hand. Chief, we've got 3 families scheduled for health screenings this afternoon. Should we proceed as planned? Reeves considered the situation. Canceling routine operations would signal awareness of the threat. Proceed normally, but be ready to implement emergency protocols. A junior agent rushed in. Chief, movement spotted in the western sector, multiple vehicles approaching from different directions. Reeves's training took over. Years of special forces experience combined with border security protocols formed a clear picture in his mind. Rivera, begin quiet evacuation of non-essential personnel. Chen, get me eyes on those vehicles. The sun climbed higher over the border station. In the distance, heat waves distorted the approaching vehicles. Reeves stood at his office window, watching and calculating. He'd seen this before. The careful preparation, the coordinated approach, but this wasn't some remote battlefield in a foreign country. This was American soil, where families came seeking legal refuge. His radio crackled again. Chief! Chen's voice was tense. Those vehicles are just the ones we can see. Thermal imaging shows more approaching from the south, using the terrain for cover. Reeves watched a mother below comforting her crying child, a scene of ordinary humanity in what was about to become anything but ordinary. His jaw set with determination. Some enemies think attacking peaceful facilities makes them powerful, he said quietly. My entire career has been about proving them wrong. He turned to Rivera. Implement security protocol Delta 7, quietly. We don't want to cause panic. Copy that, she responded, then added, Chief, our informant just confirmed it's the Gulf Cartel. They're led by Vega himself. Reeves thought about the intelligence briefings, about Vega's military background and current role as the cartel's tactical commander. A man who believed his training made him invincible was about to learn the difference between standard military training and the specialized skills of America's most elite warriors. Vega is about to learn why attacking this station will be the last mistake he ever makes, Reeves said with quiet intensity, and why you never bring violence to a place where families seek peace. Below, the station continued its normal operations. But subtle changes were taking place. Security personnel moved with purpose, cameras pivoted to new positions, and Chief Marcus Reeves, who had traded covert missions for protecting the American dream, prepared to show the Gulf Cartel why targeting his post would be a fatal miscalculation. The midday heat shimmered across the station's parking lot as Chief Reeves assembled his core team in the secondary command center. Maps and surveillance feeds covered the walls, showing the approaching cartel vehicles from multiple angles. Miguel Ortiz, the station's facilities manager, spread building blueprints across the central table, his maintenance keys jangling at his belt. These service corridors were built during the facility expansion, Ortiz explained, tracing routes with his finger. They connect all major sections of the complex and can serve as evacuation paths if needed. Rivera studied the blueprints carefully. The northwestern passage leads directly to the Sheriff's Department substation. Could be useful if we need external support. This explains why they chose today, Chen added, pulling up a personnel roster on his tablet. We're at 65% staffing because of the Border Security Conference in San Antonio. Half our senior agents are there giving presentations. Reeves examined the tactical situation. 17 families in processing, 12 staff members handling paperwork, and only 2/3 of his normal security force. Perfect timing for an attack, except for one critical detail. They didn't know who they were dealing with. Dr. Mendez entered with medical inventory reports. Chief, we have 2 pregnant women in processing and an elderly man with a cardiac condition. If things escalate, they'll need priority evacuation. Noted, Reeves said. Rivera, coordinate with Dr. Mendez. I want those vulnerable civilians moved to the secure medical bay as soon as possible, but keep it routine. No cause for alarm. The radio crackled with the local sheriff's voice. Reeves, Sheriff Daniels here. My units are in position, but we've got another situation. News van from Channel 7 is asking questions. Reporter named Lisa Vasquez. Reeves turned to Rivera. Keep her in the dark. Last thing we need is the cartel knowing we're onto them. Too late, Chen interrupted, pointing to his screens. Look at their movement pattern. They've shifted to cover our blind spots. They know we've spotted them. Ortiz stepped closer to the blueprints. Chief, there's something else you should see. These service corridors. They connect to older tunnels that aren't on the official plans. Remnants from the original border station built in the 70s. Reeves's expression hardened. Show me. In the processing center below, Agent Torres maintained a calm facade while quietly directing other agents to strategic positions. The Hernandez family, Gabriel and young Maria, sat nearby completing their paperwork. Gabriel glanced up, his police background from his home country allowing him to sense the subtle shift in security posture. Something's wrong, Gabriel whispered. To Torres, I've seen this before when I worked in Matamoros. The quiet tension before cartel operations. Torres kept his voice steady. Everything's fine, sir. Please continue with your processing. Reeves's voice came through Torres's earpiece. All units implement protocol Echo 3, quiet and calm. Rivera coordinated with Dr. Mendez. moving priority. Evacuees while maintaining normal appearances. A young mother with an infant followed a medical officer down a hallway, trying to keep her baby from fussing. Outside, the desert wind picked up, carrying dust across the facility grounds. Reeves watched from the command center as the cartel vehicles maintained their distance just beyond clear visual range. "They're waiting for something," Rivera observed. "Or someone," Reeves corrected. "Vega won't be with the first wave. He'll wait until he thinks we're vulnerable." Chen's hands flew across his keyboard. "Chief, I've got movement at the eastern perimeter. Local vehicles approaching. Could be their reinforcements arriving. Or their diversion," Reeves countered. "Rivera, contact the FBI field office in McAllen. We need tactical support in place before this escalates." In the maintenance corridors, Ortiz led Reeves through the older tunnel system. Their flashlights revealed recent footprints in the dust. "Someone's been here," Ortiz said quietly. Reeves examined the prints. Multiple individuals, recent, within the last day. Back in the command center, Rivera coordinated with Sheriff Daniels' units. "We've got eyes on 14 vehicles now, spread across 3 sectors. They're positioning for full containment." Reeves analyzed the pattern. "Classic military encirclement, but they don't know about our underground options." Dr. Mendez returned with updated medical reports. "The priority evacuees are secured in the medical bay, but we have new arrivals scheduled this afternoon." "Redirect them," Reeves ordered. "Use the weather advisory protocol." FBI Special Agent Sarah Walsh's voice came through on the secure line. "Chief Reeves, FBI tactical units are 25 minutes out. Can you confirm it's definitely Vega?" Reeves studied the tactical display. The cartel vehicles had stopped moving, forming a loose perimeter around the facility, carefully staying just outside clear engagement range. "They're not here to smuggle," Reeves realized. "This is about making a statement. Vega wants to show he can take a federal facility, embarrass border patrol, and establish dominance in the region." Rivera's phone buzzed with a text. "Chief, our informant just sent a warning. Vega brought heavy weapons, military grade." "Of course he did," Reeves responded. "He's fighting the last war, but he's about to learn that taking a position is different from holding it." In the processing center, Gabriel Hernandez watched the subtle security movements with growing concern. His daughter Maria clutched her backpack, sensing the tension. "Papa," she whispered, "are the bad men coming?" Gabriel held her close. "No, mija. We're safe here. These people know what they're doing." Agent Torres maintained his position, noting how the father calmed his daughter. These were the people they were here to protect, families seeking a legal, peaceful life. Reeves returned to the command center, dust from the tunnels still on his boots. "Chen, show me thermal imaging of those tunnel approaches." The screens lit up with heat signatures, multiple warm spots moving through the underground passages, all approaching the facility. "They've found the old tunnels," Ortiz confirmed. "No," Reeves corrected, a grim smile forming. "We let them find exactly what we wanted them to find." "Rivera, is Sheriff Daniels' K-9 unit in position?" "Yes, sir, and Agent Walsh reports FBI tactical. Teams are deploying to secondary positions." Reeves studied the entire tactical picture, the visible cartel vehicles, the hidden approach through the tunnels, the media presence growing outside, and the families still being processed inside. "They think they're surrounding us," he said quietly. "Time to show them how wrong they are." Outside, the desert wind grew stronger, carrying more dust across the facility grounds. Storm clouds gathered in the distance, nature's own warning of the approaching conflict. The radio crackled again. "Chief," Chen's voice was urgent, "movement in the tunnels. They're starting their approach." Reeves looked at the families below, then at his team. Everything he'd learned in Special Forces was about protecting people. Today, he'd use that training not for war, but for upholding the law and keeping the peace. "All units," he ordered calmly, "prepare to execute Operation Sandstorm. Let's show." Vega, why you never bring cartel tactics to a special forces operator's house? Thunder rumbled in the distance as Reeves positioned his teams throughout the facility. In the tunnel monitoring station, Chen tracked multiple heat signatures converging on their position. The cartel forces moved with military precision, but they'd fallen into a pattern Reeves recognized from years of combat experience. They're using standard Mexican special forces formations, Reeves explained to Rivera. Vega's showing his background. Through the surveillance feeds, they watched a cartel vehicle approach the facility's outer gate. The driver held up paperwork, a perfect forgery of facility maintenance credentials. Torres's voice came through clear on the radio. "Sir, their documents look authentic. Matches our latest security protocols." "They've got someone inside," Rivera realized. "Someone with access to our systems," Reeves nodded grimly. "Which means we trust no one outside this room. Chen, implement communication protocol Delta 6, encrypted channels only." Dr. Mendez hurried in with urgent news. "Chief, Gabriel Hernandez says he recognizes one of the cartel members from his time as a police officer in Mexico. Says the man was responsible for a police station attack last year." Reeves turned to Rivera. "Get Hernandez up here, quietly." In the facility's lower level, Ortiz checked the maintenance tunnel access points. His keys revealed hidden reinforcement panels, emergency measures installed but never documented. "Insurance," Ortiz explained to his security escort. "Added these after the cartel incident at the Del Rio crossing last year." Above ground, Sheriff Daniels's units maintained their perimeter, her radio crackling with updates about cartel movements, each report confirming Reeves's suspicions about their tactics. "They're too obvious," Reeves observed. "Vega wants us watching these approaches." Gabriel Hernandez entered the command center, his law enforcement bearing evident despite his nervousness. "Chief, the man in the second vehicle, he's Ricardo Fuentes. In my city, he led an attack on our police headquarters. 5 officers died." Reeves exchanged glances with Rivera. The name matched their intelligence, but Hernandez's personal account revealed a deeper history of violence. "Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. Return to your daughter. Agent Torres will ensure your safety." Once Hernandez left, Reeves turned to his team. "Either our FBI intel is compromised, or Fuentes is playing a larger role than we thought. Either way, we can't trust previous information." Chen's screens lit up with new movement. "Sir, thermal imaging shows they're splitting into 3 groups, 2 following the tunnels, 1 moving through the drainage culverts." "Classic pincer movement," Reeves noted, "but they don't know about Ortiz's modifications." Rivera's phone buzzed with a message from Lisa Vasquez. "Chief, the reporter is threatening to go live with a story about cartel movement near the station. If she broadcasts, Vega will know we're ready." Reeves finished. "Get Sheriff Daniels to delay her, legally." The command center's main screen showed the cartel's visible forces, 18 vehicles now positioned strategically around the facility. But Reeves's attention focused on the thermal images of underground movement. "They think they're being subtle," he said quietly. "Chen, activate the tunnel sensors. Let's see what we're really dealing with." Hidden vibration sensors lit up across the blueprint display. Dozens of armed men moving through the underground network, following paths that seemed unguarded. Torres radioed from his position. "Sir, the Hernandez girl. She's drawing something, says it's important." Maria's crayon drawing arrived via secure tablet. It showed vehicles and men she'd glimpsed through the windows earlier in the day, with details only a child's innocent observation would notice. "The rear vehicles," Reeves pointed to the image. "They're riding higher than the others, heavy weapons." Thunder cracked closer as the storm approached. In the processing center, families sensed the growing tension. Dr. Mendez moved among them, her routine checks providing calm reassurance. Agent Walsh's voice came through the encrypted line. "Chief, FBI tactical teams are in position. We've confirmed heavy weapons in at least 4 vehicles, military grade." "They'll wait to use those," Reeves analyzed. Vega wants to take the facility intact, show his dominance. Ortiz returned with updated tunnel reports. They've passed the first checkpoints, moving exactly where we predicted. Time to test their commitment, Reeves decided. He turned to Rivera. Implement Operation Sandstorm Phase 1. Throughout the facility, hidden systems activated. Ventilation. Fans reversed, drawing the approaching storm's dust into specific tunnel sections. Security doors sealed silently, cutting off planned escape routes. In the command center, Chen's screens showed the cartel teams reacting to the changing conditions. Their military training was evident in their quick adjustments, but Reeves saw the flaws in their approach. "They're good," Rivera observed. "But they're fighting blind," Reeves corrected. "They're falling back on standard responses. Responses I know better than they do." A flash of lightning illuminated the facility grounds through the command center. Windows. Reeves watched the storm's approach, nature's timing matching their tactical needs perfectly. "Sir," Chen called out, "first tunnel team is approaching Junction 7. They'll breach in 30 seconds. Reeves studied the security feeds. Years of special forces experience combining with law enforcement protocol to form a clear picture. "Vega thinks he's running a military operation," he said quietly. "But this isn't a battlefield. This is a home for every family seeking legal refuge, for every officer protecting them, for every American dream starting right here." Rivera checked her tactical display. "All teams in position, Chief." Reeves nodded, his expression set with quiet determination. "Execute Operation Sandstorm Phase 2. Let's show them why you never mistake a border station for an easy target." Throughout the facility, hidden preparations sprang to life as thunder rolled overhead. The first real confrontation between Reeves's defenders and Vega's forces began, not with gunfire, but with something the cartel never expected from a simple border station. They were about to learn that true tactical superiority isn't about having the most weapons. It's about knowing exactly how to use what you have. Operation Sandstorm unleashed its first phase as the storm broke over the facility. The strategically reversed ventilation system forced dust-laden air through the tunnel network, creating a natural smokescreen. Cartel forces in the underground passages found themselves caught in a carefully engineered trap. "First team is pulling back," Chen reported, tracking heat signatures on his display. "They're regrouping at Junction 4. Reeves watched the thermal, imaging closely. "That's not retreat, that's tactical repositioning. Vega trained them well." Through the facility's cameras, they observed the cartel's ground forces responding to their tunnel team's situation. 3 vehicles broke formation, moving to provide support at potential exit points. "They're adapting faster than expected," Rivera noted. "Because someone's feeding them information," Reeves responded. "Chen, run a trace on all outgoing communications." Dr. Mendez entered with fresh concern etched on her face. "Chief, the pregnant woman in processing room 3, her contractions have started. Not imminent yet, but she needs medical attention. The stress isn't helping." Reeves turned to Rivera. "Get that FBI medical evacuation team in position. We move." Her at the first opportunity. The command center's main screen showed a cartel vehicle approaching the south gate. Unlike the others, this one bore Red Cross markings, a clever deception attempting to exploit humanitarian protocols. "Sir," Torres radioed, "they're claiming to be with International Medical Relief. Documents look authentic." "Another layer of inside information," Reeves observed. "Deny entry. Medical protocols require 24-hour advance notice." The false ambulance retreated, but Reeves recognized the tactic. "They're probing our procedures, looking for weak points. In the processing center." Gabriel Hernandez watched the growing tension while keeping Maria occupied with her drawings. "Agent Torres," he called quietly. "The man in the ambulance. He was holding his rifle wrong. No medic holds a weapon that way." Torres relayed the information. Reeves added it to his growing tactical picture. The cartel's military training shows in their main force, but their supporting units lack the same discipline, Ortiz reported from the tunnel security station. Chief, they found the first set of reinforced doors. They're setting charges. Let them waste their explosives, Reeves responded. Those doors are designed to channel the blast force back into the tunnels. The storm intensified outside, lightning illuminating the facility in stark flashes. Sheriff Daniels's units maintained their positions, coordinating with newly arrived FBI tactical teams. FBI units in position, Agent Walsh confirmed through the encrypted line. We've identified their heavy weapons, modified Barrett M107 rifles, and at least 2 mounted machine guns. Military hardware, Reeves noted, which means they have a new weapons supplier. Rivera, alert DEA, this goes beyond a local cartel operation. Chen's surveillance picked up new movement. Sir, second tunnel team is approaching Junction 8, but something's wrong with their pattern. Reeves studied the thermal image. They're carrying something heavy, something they're protecting. Explosives? Rivera suggested. No, Reeves corrected. Explosives they would distribute among multiple teams. This is something else, something valuable. The facility's power flickered as lightning struck nearby. Emergency systems engaged seamlessly, another of Reeves's preparations. Through the security feeds, they watched the cartel forces react to the power fluctuation. Their response revealed another tactical layer. They expected the power to fail completely, Reeves realized. They had a plan for darkness. Night vision equipment, Rivera added, military grade. That kind of hardware is restricted even for law enforcement. Because they have military connections, Reeves concluded. Recent ones. Chen, check border military installations, see who's reported equipment missing in the last month. Dr. Mendez returned with updated medical reports. The pregnant woman's condition remains stable, but other stress-related issues are developing among the civilians. She lowered her voice. Chief, I overheard something. One of the maintenance workers, he was speaking on a phone in Spanish, describing our medical evacuation procedures. Reeves nodded grimly. Did you see his face? No, but I recognized his voice. He works in the East Wing. Rivera checked personnel records. 3 maintenance workers assigned there, all vetted. Vetted doesn't mean loyal, Reeves responded, especially if the cartel has leverage on their families across the border. The storm reached its peak intensity, rain now mixing with the dust-laden wind. Through the command center windows, visibility dropped to near zero, perfect cover for both sides. Sir, Chen called out urgently, intercepted radio transmission, encrypted, but the pattern matches Mexican military channels. Reeves's expression hardened. This confirmed his suspicions about Vega's new resources. The cartel leader wasn't just using his old military training. He had active military support. A security alert flashed on Chen's screen. Chief, Junction 18 team is preparing to breach, but their thermal signature, something's changed. Reeves studied the new data, his special forces experience recognizing the pattern immediately. They're not carrying equipment, they're carrying a person, someone important. Rivera's eyes widened with realization. Vega himself? He's coming in with the second team? No, Reeves corrected. That's what they want us to think. Classic special. Forces deception. The facility's perimeter alarms suddenly blared. On the security feeds, a single vehicle raced toward the north gate, civilian plates driving with precision through the storm. Reeves allowed himself a grim smile. There he is, the real attack. Everything else was preparation for this moment. Throughout the facility, security teams moved with practiced efficiency. Operation Sandstorm entered its next phase as Reeves prepared to meet Vega's true assault. All units, he commanded through the encrypted channel. Execute Protocol Omega. Let's show them why you never bring military hardware to a Homeland Security operation. The storm raged outside. But within the facility's walls, a different kind of storm was about to break, one that would teach Vega the difference between military force and tactical wisdom. Vega's vehicle crashed through the outer barrier, swerving with expert precision despite the storm. Behind the civilian sedan, two disguised tactical vehicles emerged from the dust cloud, their positions creating a classic wedge formation. "Impact in 10 seconds, Chen announced, fingers flying across his keyboard. "Security gates engaging." Reeves watched the approach, noting the subtle details that confirmed his suspicions. Those aren't cartel drivers, military training, close protection detail. The sedan suddenly spun, using the wet pavement to rotate into a defensive position. 4 men emerged, moving with coordinated efficiency. At their center, Alejandro Vega stood calmly in an expensive suit, seemingly unconcerned by the rain. "He's putting on a show," Rivera observed. "Because he thinks he's already won," Reeves responded. "Chen, execute containment sequence Delta." Hidden. Barriers rose from the ground, trapping Vega's vehicles in a carefully prepared kill zone. But the cartel leader merely smiled, raising a phone to his ear. Inside the facility, an explosion rocked the east wing, not from the tunnels, but from inside the maintenance area. Ortiz's voice crackled through the radio, heavy with pain. "Chief, Ramirez from maintenance. He had explosives hidden in the electrical room. Got the drop on me." "Medical team to the east wing," Reeves ordered. "Rivera, find Ramirez." But Ramirez had already disappeared into the facility's network of service corridors. On the security feeds, they watched him methodically disabling security systems. "He knows all the back doors," Chen reported, "overriding my lockdowns faster than I can implement them." Outside, Vega's men took positions around their vehicles. No aggressive moves, just calculated positioning. They were waiting. "Sir, Agent." Walsh's voice came through encrypted channels. "FBI teams are ready to engage." "Hold position," Reeves commanded. "This isn't about firepower. Vega is too smart for that." As if confirming Reeves's analysis, Vega raised his voice to be heard over the storm. "Chief Reeves, I believe we can resolve this situation professionally." Reeves activated the external speakers. "By attacking a civilian immigration facility? By negotiating terms that benefit everyone?" Vega's voice carried the smooth confidence of a man used to getting his way. "I have no interest in harming civilians. This is business." In the processing center, Dr. Mendez tended to the pregnant woman while Torres coordinated silent evacuations through secondary routes. Gabriel Hernandez kept other families calm, his police background providing stability. "Chief," Rivera interrupted, "Ramirez is heading for the main power distribution hub. If he reaches it," Chen began. "He won't," Reeves assured him, "because that's not his real target." "Chen, show me thermal imaging of sub-level 3. The screens revealed Ramirez's true destination, the secure evidence vault containing seized cartel assets and intelligence files. "Everything else is distraction," Reeves said. "Walsh, Ramirez is heading for the evidence vault. Non-lethal takedown. Authorized." Outside, Vega continued his performance. "You have an impressive facility, Chief. Special Forces training shows in your preparations. But you're thinking like a soldier. This is a business negotiation." Lightning flashed, illuminating the scene. Reeves noticed subtle hand signals between Vega's men, a secondary plan being coordinated. "Chen, infrared scan of those vehicles. Now." The thermal imaging revealed hidden compartments in all 3 vehicles, not weapons, but something giving off significant heat signatures. "Broadcasting equipment," Reeves realized. "They're not here to take the facility. They're here to embarrass us on live TV." Lisa Vasquez's news van appeared at the perimeter, perfectly timed. Vega's true plan became clear, a media spectacle showing the cartel breaching a secure government facility. "Sir," Torres radioed urgently, "the pregnant woman's water just broke. Dr. Mendez says we need to move her now." Reeves surveyed the tactical situation. Vega outside with broadcasting equipment, Ramirez heading for the evidence vault, a woman in labor, and dozens of families still in the facility. Rivera, coordinate with Dr. Mendez. Use evacuation route. Charlie, Chen, kill all external power to the perimeter. No cameras broadcast from this facility. He paused. And get me Sheriff Daniels on the line. Through the storm, Reeves observed Vega's subtle tension. The cartel leader expected immediate media coverage of his negotiation. Instead, his cameras had no power. Problems with your broadcast, Vega? Reeves's voice carried through the speakers. Strange place to set up a TV studio. Vega's composure cracked slightly. His plan required spectacle, and Reeves had denied him his audience. In the sub-levels, Ramirez reached the evidence vault only to find FBI tactical teams waiting. The maintenance worker realized too late that Reeves had predicted his true mission. Chief, Agent Walsh reported, Ramirez is secure. No injuries. Reeves turned to Rivera. Get me everything on Ramirez's family in Mexico. Vega must have leverage on them. Already searching, she responded. His daughter's medical records show treatment at a cartel-controlled hospital last month. Understanding dawned. Vega didn't turn Ramirez with money. He used a father's desperation. Through the facility speakers, Reeves addressed Vega. Your inside man is in custody. The evidence vault is secure, and there's no media coverage of your negotiation. Want to discuss your real purpose here? Vega's response came in the form of a new signal to his men. The vehicle's hidden compartments opened, but instead of broadcasting equipment, they revealed military-grade communication jammers. Clever misdirection, Reeves commented to his team. Let us think it was about cameras, so we wouldn't expect radio jamming. Sir, Chen warned, if those jammers activate, we lose coordination with FBI teams and Sheriff Daniels' units. Reeves allowed himself a slight smile. Exactly as I hoped. Rivera, execute Protocol Echo. Throughout the facility, hidden signal repeaters activated. Equipment installed for exactly this scenario. Vega's jammers would only block their own communications. Chief, Dr. Mendez's voice came through clear, despite the jamming attempt. The baby's coming. We need that medical evacuation now. Reeves looked from the tactical displays to the storm outside, then to Vega's position. The cartel leader thought he was orchestrating events, but he was about to learn why Special Forces operators are trained to turn every situation to their advantage. All units, Reeves commanded, prepare to execute Operation Sandstorm's final phase. Let's show them why you never try to outthink a man who spent his life protecting people. The storm continued to rage, but inside the facility, Reeves's carefully laid plans began to converge. Vega wanted a performance. He was about to get one, but not the kind he expected. A baby's first cry pierced the facility's tension as Dr. Mendez helped deliver the newborn in the medical bay. Outside, Vega's forces remained unaware that their jamming attempt had failed. Their own communications now compromised by Reeves's. Countermeasures. Vital signs stable for mother and child, Dr. Mendez reported through the encrypted channel, but we need to move them to a proper hospital. Reeves studied the tactical display where Vega's men had established firing positions around their vehicles. Rivera, coordinate with the FBI medical team, will use their distraction against them. Through the storm, Lisa Vasquez's news van continued transmitting, but only what Reeves allowed them to see. The reporter's frustration evident as her cameras captured nothing but standard border operations. Chief, Chen alerted, intercepted communication from Vega's channel. 2 more vehicles approaching from the south, heavy weapons mounted. Let them come, Reeves responded. Sheriff Daniels' units are waiting at the canyon crossing. The facility's surveillance caught Vega checking his phone repeatedly. His staged media event failing, backup delayed, inside man captured. The cartel leader's perfect plan was unraveling thread by thread. In the processing center, Gabriel Hernandez, noticed something through the window, a glint of metal in the storm. His years in law enforcement had taught him to recognize hidden threats. "Agent Torres," he whispered. "Sniper. Administration building roof. The rain patterns wrong around that spot." Torres relayed the information. Reeves immediately recognized the tactic, a hidden marksman inserted during the earlier confusion. "Walsh, your team have eyes on that position." "Affirmative," the FBI agent responded. "Want us to engage?" "Not yet. He's Vega's insurance. Let him think we haven't spotted him." Rivera returned with updates from Ramirez's interrogation. "Chief, it's worse than we thought. The cartel has his entire family, wife, daughter, even his elderly mother. Chief, Ramirez from maintenance. He had explosives hidden in the electrical room. Got the drop on me." "Medical team to the East Wing," Reeves ordered. "Rivera, find Ramirez." But Ramirez had already disappeared into the facility's network of service corridors. On the security feeds, they watched him methodically disabling security systems. "He knows all the back doors," Chen reported, "overriding my lockdowns faster than I can implement them." Outside, Vega's men took positions around their vehicles. No aggressive moves, just calculated positioning. They were waiting. "Sir, Agent..." Walsh's voice came through encrypted channels. "FBI teams are ready to engage." "Hold position," Reeves commanded. "This isn't about firepower. Vega is too smart for that." As if confirming Reeves's analysis, Vega raised his voice to be heard over the storm. "Chief Reeves, I believe we can resolve this situation professionally." Reeves activated the external speakers. "By attacking a civilian immigration facility, by negotiating terms that benefit everyone." Vega's voice carried the smooth confidence of a man used to getting his way. "I have no interest in harming civilians. This is business." In the processing center, Dr. Mendez tended to the pregnant woman, while Torres coordinated silent evacuations through secondary routes. Gabriel Hernandez kept other families calm, his police background providing stability. "Chief," Rivera interrupted, "Ramirez is heading for the main power distribution hub. If he reaches it," Chen began. "He won't," Reeves assured him, "because that's not his real target. Chen, show me thermal imaging of sub-level 3. The screens revealed Ramirez's true destination, the secure evidence vault containing seized cartel assets and intelligence files. "Everything else is distraction," Reeves said. "Walsh, Ramirez is heading for the evidence vault. Non-lethal takedown authorized." Outside, Vega continued his performance. "You have an impressive facility, Chief. Special forces training shows in your preparations, but you're thinking like a soldier. This is a business negotiation." Lightning flashed, illuminating the scene. Reeves noticed subtle hand signals between Vega's men, a secondary plan being coordinated. "Chen, infrared scan of those vehicles, now." The thermal imaging revealed hidden compartments in all 3 vehicles, not weapons, but something giving off significant heat signatures. "Broadcasting equipment," Reeves realized. "They're not here to take the facility. They're here to embarrass." It's on live TV. Lisa Vasquez's news van appeared at the perimeter, perfectly timed. Vega's true plan became clear, a media spectacle showing the cartel breaching a secure government facility. "Sir," Torres radioed urgently, "the pregnant woman's water just broke. Dr. Mendez says we need to move her now." Reeves surveyed the tactical situation. Vega outside with broadcasting equipment, Ramirez heading for the evidence vault, a woman in labor, and dozens of families still in the facility. Rivera, coordinate with Dr. Mendez. Use evacuation route. "Charlie, Chen, kill all external power to the perimeter. No cameras broadcast from this facility." He paused. "And get me Sheriff Daniels on the line." Through the storm, Reeves observed Vega's subtle tension. The cartel leader expected immediate media coverage of his negotiation. Instead, his cameras had no power. "Problems with your broadcast, Vega?" Reeves' voice carried through the speakers. "Strange place to set up a TV studio." "They're not the only ones," Reeves realized. Chen, background check every maintenance worker with cross-border family connections. The tech specialist's search revealed 3 more compromised employees, all with family members recently admitted to cartel-controlled hospitals. Vega's been planning this for months, Rivera observed, using medical care as leverage. Because bullets leave evidence, Reeves responded, but threatening to deny medical treatment that leaves no trace. The storm intensified, lightning illuminating the facility in stark flashes. Through the command center windows, Reeves watched Vega's growing frustration. The cartel leader expected to be broadcasting his victory by now. "Sir," Chen interrupted, "thermal imaging shows movement in the tunnel near the evidence vault. They're using Ramirez's codes." "No," Reeves corrected. "They're using what they think are his codes. Ortiz changed those frequencies an hour ago." In the medical bay, Dr. Mendez prepared the mother and newborn for transport. The baby's birth had created an unexpected tactical advantage, a legitimate reason for emergency vehicles to approach. "Chief," Agent Walsh radioed, "FBI tactical teams report cartel reinforcements stopped at the canyon. Sheriff Daniels' unit has them pinned down." Reeves allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. Vega's military training taught him to secure strategic positions, but he forgot that local law enforcement knows every back road and hidden crossing. Through the facility's cameras, they watched the cartel leader finally lose his composure. He grabbed his radio, barking orders in rapid Spanish. "Translation?" Reeves asked. "He's ordering the tunnel teams to breach immediately," Rivera reported. "No more subtlety." Exactly as expected. Chen, activate tunnel protocols Delta through Echo. Throughout the underground network, hidden systems engaged, emergency bulkheads sealed, water pumps activated, and carefully placed charges collapsed selected passages. "Sir," Torres radioed from his position. "The Hernandez girl. She's humming." Reeves frowned. "Explain." "She's humming a song. Says she remembers it from when the bad men came to her town. Some kind of signal they used." Reeves turned to Rivera. "Get Gabriel up here again. Now." When the former police officer arrived, his face paled at hearing the tune. "That's what they played before attacking the police station in my city. Their scouts use it to signal that hostages are in position." Understanding dawned. Reeves checked the security feeds. Certain maintenance workers had been slowly positioning themselves near families in the processing center. They're not just compromised by threats, he realized. They're actively working for the cartel. "This whole operation," Rivera said, "it's about human shields." Vega's true plan became clear. The media presence, the frontal assault, the tunnel teams, all distractions from his real purpose. He planned to take the families hostage, using America's own humanitarian protocols against them. "All units," Reeves commanded. "Implement evacuation protocol Foxtrot, priority on children and medical cases." He paused. "And someone get me Father Miguel on the line." The local priest had been waiting in his car outside the perimeter. Reeves had seen too many cartel operations to overlook the value of religious authority in maintaining calm. "Chief," Chen warned, "tunnel teams are breaching the lower levels. They've adapted to the flooding." "Because those aren't regular cartel soldiers," Reeves observed. "Those are special forces, dropouts, trained but desperate, the worst combination." Dr. Mendez's voice came through, urgent but controlled. "Mother and child are ready for transport, but the contractions triggered early labor in 2 other women." Reeves surveyed the tactical situation. Vega outside, compromised workers inside, tunnel teams below, and civilians in need of protection throughout the facility. "Rivera, coordinate with Father Miguel. Start moving families to the chapel area. Chen, give me eyes on every maintenance worker's position. Walsh, have your teams ready to contain any internal threats." Through the storm, Vega watched his hostage. Plan dissolve as families were quietly moved to safety. His frustration finally broke. Reeves, his voice carried over the rain. You think you understand what's happening here? This isn't about the cartel. This is about proving a point. No one's facility is secure. No one's position is safe. You're right about one thing, Reeves responded through the external speakers. This is about proving a point, just not the one you think. Throughout the facility, Reeves's teams moved with practiced precision. As Vega realized his hostage strategy had failed, the real operation began. One designed to show exactly why you never underestimate a Special Forces veteran protecting civilians on his own ground. Father Miguel's arrival transformed the facility's chapel into a sanctuary. Families gathered quietly, his presence providing calm as Reeves's security teams identified and isolated compromised maintenance workers. The children remember me from outreach programs, Father Miguel explained softly. It helps them feel safe. Reeves watched through security feeds as more families moved to the chapel area. Keep them calm, Father. What's about to happen? They don't need to see it. Outside, Vega paced between his vehicles, mask of control cracking. His radio crackled with reports of failed tunnel breaches and blocked escape routes. Chief, Chen alerted, new thermal signatures approaching from the east, low to the ground, moving through the storm drains. Reeves studied the pattern. Not Cartel. Those are Sheriff Daniels's K9 units. She's using the dogs' training against their tunnel teams. In the medical bay, Dr. Mendez managed 3 women in labor while coordinating with FBI medical teams. The first mother and child were ready for transport. These contractions are stress-induced, she reported. We need to move them all. Understood. Reeves responded. Rivera, coordinate with Walsh. We'll use Vega's media presence to our advantage. Through the facility's external cameras, they watched Lisa Vasquez's news van receive an anonymous tip, a developing story about cartel forces blocking emergency medical transport. Sir, Torres radioed from the chapel entrance, Gabriel Hernandez noticed something. The compromised workers, they're all wearing new boots, different from standard issue. Reeves's tactical experience connected the dots. Steel-reinforced toes. They were planning to arm them. Chen, full scan for weapons caches. The thermal imaging revealed hidden stockpiles in maintenance closets throughout the facility. Vega's plan became clearer. The workers weren't just hostage takers, they were a hidden strike force. Chief, Agent Walsh reported, FBI teams have contained 4 caches, but we've got another problem. Border Patrol reports increased civilian traffic approaching the facility because Vega called in witnesses, Reeves realized. He wants an audience when this falls apart. Rivera returned with updates from Ramirez's continued interrogation. The hospital treating his family, it's run by a doctor with military credentials, former Mexican Special Forces medical officer, same unit as Vega. Reeves connected the dots. This goes deeper than cartels. He's building his own private army, using medical care as recruitment. The storm's intensity began to fade, but the tactical situation grew more complex. Vega's forces maintained their positions while civilian vehicles gathered at safe distance. In the tunnel network, Sheriff Daniels' K9 units forced cartel teams into prepared containment zones. The dogs' training proving more effective than military tactics in the confined spaces. Sir, Chen called out, intercepted communication from the sniper team. They're requesting permission to target emergency vehicles. Reeves's expression hardened. That's why Vega kept them hidden. If he couldn't have hostages, he'd threaten medical transport. Through the command center windows, they watched Vega receive the sniper's message. His response would reveal his true character. Medical teams are staged, Rivera reported, including 3 civilian ambulances responding to legitimate emergency calls, which puts Vega in a trap, Reeves observed. Target those vehicles, he proves he's a terrorist. Let them through, he loses tactical advantage. Father Miguel's voice came through the radio. "Chief, the families are asking about the gathering crowd. They're worried about relatives trying to reach them." "Keep them inside, Father. What's coming next? Let them remember your prayers, not the sound of defeat." Dr. Mendez interrupted with urgent news. "Chief, one of the mothers is experiencing complications. We need transport now." Reeves surveyed the full tactical situation. Vega's forces blocking medical access, compromised workers contained, tunnel teams isolated, and civilians gathering to witness the outcome. "Chen, get me a direct line to Vega. Time to explain his options." Through the facility speakers, Reeves addressed the cartel leader. "Your tunnel teams are trapped. Your inside force is neutralized, and there are 3 women in labor requiring emergency transport. Choose carefully what happens next." Vega's response came in rapid Spanish to his sniper team. Rivera's translation: "Cut through the command center. He's ordering them to target the ambulance's engines. Disable, but don't destroy." "Sir," Walsh added, "FBI tactical teams have coverage of the sniper position. Permission to engage?" "Not yet," Reeves countered. "Vega just revealed his weakness. Rivera broadcast the civilian gathering on all emergency frequencies. The cartel leader watched in growing frustration as police units began evacuating the civilian. Vehicles citing safety concerns. Your audience is leaving," Reeves announced, "but 3 women still need medical transport. Your call: be remembered as the man who endangered mothers and children, or the one who chose wisely." Throughout the facility, Reeves's teams maintained position. Father Miguel's prayers mixed with the quieting storm, while Dr. Mendez prepared her patients for movement. "Chief," Chen reported, "second tunnel team is surfacing. They're requesting extraction." Reeves allowed himself a grim smile. "They know they're beaten. Time for Vega to learn why you never put a Special Forces veteran in charge of a facility unless you're prepared to lose." The next few minutes would determine everything, not through gunfire or force, but through the choice between military, pride, and human decency. Vega was about to learn that true tactical victory sometimes means knowing when to stand down. Vega stood motionless in the clearing storm, pride warring with pragmatism. His forces held strategic positions around the facility, but 3 ambulances waited at the perimeter, lights flashing against the gray sky. "Time's running out," Reeves warned through the speakers. "Those mothers need medical care now." The cartel leader's response came not in words, but action. He signaled his sniper team to stand down, then turned to face the facility directly. "You think this makes you win?" Vega called out. "Hiding behind pregnant women?" "No one's hiding," Reeves responded. "But everyone's watching your choice right. Now, it shows who you really are." Lisa Vasquez's news crew had their cameras trained on the scene, not for Vega's planned victory, but for his moment of truth. "Chief," Chen alerted, "movement at the canyon crossing. The reinforcements Sheriff Daniels pinned down, they're repositioning." Through tactical displays, they watched Vega's backup forces attempt to flank the police blockade. But Sheriff Daniels' years of local experience had predicted their route. "They're heading for the old mining road," she radioed, "walking right into our spike strips." Inside the medical bay, Dr. Mendez monitored her patient's conditions. "The first mother's baby is stable, but these other deliveries, they're becoming critical." Reeves studied the full tactical picture. "Rivera, coordinate medical transport. Walsh, your teams cover the ambulance approach. Chen, keep eyes on those tunnel teams." Father Miguel's voice came through calm and clear. "The families are praying, Chief, not just for themselves, but for wisdom to prevail." Vega paced between his vehicles, military training battling cartel ruthlessness. His radio crackled with updates from his failed backup forces. "Sir?" Torres radioed from his position. "Gabriel Hernandez says he recognizes one of Vega's drivers, former military policeman who helped cartel operations in his town." Reeves connected another piece. Not just building an army, he's recruiting law enforcement. Rivera, get me everything on military and police defections along the border. The data revealed a pattern. Vega systematically recruiting trained personnel, using medical care and threats to build a professional force. Dr. Mendez's urgent voice cut through the command center. Chief, we need to move now. One mother's blood pressure is dropping. Reeves made his decision. All units, prepare to execute medical protocol, Charlie. Vega wants to prove what kind of man he is. Let's give him his chance. The facility's gates opened partially, creating a narrow ambulance corridor. FBI tactical teams took covered positions, while Sheriff Daniels's units maintained their canyon blockade. You're trapped, Vega, Reeves announced. Your reinforcements are neutralized. Your tunnel teams are contained, but 3 mothers need help. Choose. Be a soldier who respects medical rights, or a criminal who endangers the innocent. Through the facility's cameras, they watched the cartel leader wrestle with his options. His military background included Geneva Convention training, medical transport rights embedded in his earliest lessons. Chief, Chen warned, thermal imaging shows movement in the storm drains. Not K9 units this time, his hidden backup. Planning to strike during the medical transport, Reeves realized. Rivera, alert Walsh's teams. Let's show them why you never trust a cartel to honor medical protocols. Dr. Mendez prepared her patients for movement, while Father Miguel led his congregation in prayer. The facility held its breath, waiting for Vega's choice. Suddenly, Lisa, Vasquez's news van, received a new transmission. Camera footage showing the detained tunnel teams, the contained workers, the failed backup forces. Someone inside Vega's organization was making their own choice. Sir, Rivera reported, Ramirez is asking to speak, says he knows who leaked the footage. Reeves watched Vega review the transmission on his phone. The cartel leader's expression shifted from rage to calculation. Your own people are turning, Reeves announced. They know what crossing this line means. No going back from targeting medical transport. Through the command center windows, they observed Vega's military training, finally overcome cartel instincts. He signaled his forces to clear the ambulance route. Medical teams move in, Reeves ordered. Walsh, your people maintain cover positions. Sheriff Daniels, keep those backup forces contained. The ambulances approach slowly, emergency lights reflecting off wet pavement. Dr. Mendez accompanied her patients, professional calm masking urgent concern. Chief, Chen alerted, storm drain team is still advancing. They're not responding to Vega's orders. Reeves's tactical experience recognized the implications. Because they're not his men. Someone else is making a play here. Rivera, get me cartel. Intelligence, who benefits if Vega falls today. The data painted a complex picture, rival cartels watching, waiting to exploit any weakness. Vega's reputation for military precision kept them at bay. If he failed here... Sir, Torres radioed, movement in the parking structure, armed men not wearing cartel colors. Through security feeds, they watched a new force emerging, not Vega's military precision, but something else, something worse. Rival cartel Rivera confirmed, using Vega's attackers as cover for their own move. Reeves surveyed the evolving situation, Vega allowing medical transport but rival forces preparing to create chaos. The facility caught between cartel power plays while lives hung in the balance. All units, he commanded, adjust to Protocol Echo. Vega just chose to respect medical rights. Now we show his rivals why that was the smart decision. Throughout the facility, tactical positions shifted. Sometimes, Reeves knew, the real threat isn't the enemy you're watching, but the one waiting to exploit their failure. The ambulances continued their approach as storm clouds finally broke. Sunlight glinted off wet pavement, illuminating the thin line between military honor and cartel violence. A line Vega chose not to cross, but his rivals might not show the same restraint. The first ambulance reached the gate zone when shots rang. Out from the parking structure, not aimed to hit but to create panic. the rival cartel announcing their presence with calculated chaos. "Get those ambulances through," Reeves commanded. "Walsh, suppress that fire. Rivera, identify those shooters." Security feeds showed the new threat: Los Lobos cartel members emerging from hiding spots throughout the commercial lot. They'd been waiting, watching Vega's operation fail. 8 shooters, Rivera reported. Professional mercenaries by their movement pattern. They're wearing Guatemalan military surplus, same supplier as the smuggling groups. Reeves watched Vega register the new threat. The cartel leader's expression shifted from controlled calm to cold fury as he recognized the tactical insert. "Your rivals played you," Reeves announced through the speakers. "Used your attack as cover for their own infiltration. Now civilian lives are at risk." Vega barked orders to his men, military training taking over. His forces adjusted positions, now facing both the facility and the emerging rival threat. "Chief," Chen alerted. "Those storm drain teams, they're surfacing behind Vega's position. Los Lobos markings confirmed." Through tactical displays, they watched the complex situation unfold. Los Lobos forces emerging in coordinated positions, trying to trap Vega's men between their guns and the facility's defenses. Dr. Mendez's voice cut through the tension. "First, ambulance is loaded. 2 more mothers still need transport." "Keep them moving," Reeves ordered. "Torres, get Father Miguel's people away from the windows. Rivera, alert Sheriff Daniels. She's about to have company at that canyon crossing." The tactical picture grew more complex as Los Lobos vehicles appeared on approach routes. They weren't trying to take the facility. They wanted to destroy Vega's reputation for invincibility. "Sir," Agent Walsh reported, "FBI teams have identified Los Lobos leadership on site. Ramon Ortega himself is coordinating their assault." Reeves recognized the name. Former Guatemalan intelligence, now running Los Lobos' tactical operations. A man known for using his enemies' plans against them. Lisa Vasquez's news crew captured the emerging cartel conflict, not the story Vega planned, but one that could reshape border power dynamics. "Chief," Rivera interrupted, "Ramirez is insisting we hear him, says he knows why Los Lobos chose today." In interrogation, Ramirez revealed the deeper game. Vega had been blocking their medical shipments, using his hospital connections to control who gets treatment. Today was supposed to show his power. Instead, he exposed his weakness. "Ortega isn't just attacking Vega," Reeves finished. "He's systematically dismantling the man's carefully built reputation. Chen, get me satellite coverage of Los Lobos approach routes." The thermal imaging revealed more forces approaching through previously secured areas. Ortega wasn't just attacking Vega, he was systematically dismantling the man's carefully built reputation. Father Miguel radioed from the chapel. "The families can hear the gunfire, but they're staying calm, trusting in the protection they've been promised." "Protection they'll receive," Reeves assured him. "Rivera, coordinate with Walsh. We're about to have an opportunity here." Through facility cameras, they watched Vega's military training assert itself. His forces took defensive positions, protecting the medical transport route while watching for Los Lobos' next move. "Chief," Torres alerted, "Gabriel Hernandez recognized another player. One of Los Lobos' men was a corrupt police chief from his region. He knows their tactics." Reeves listened as Gabriel detailed Los Lobos' standard operations. The cartel preferred to turn situations chaotic, using confusion to mask their real targets. "Sir," Chen called out, "second ambulance is approaching the gate. Los Lobos teams are holding fire but repositioning." Dr. Mendez supervised the patient transfer while tactical teams maintained coverage. Blood pressure stabilizing, the hospital's been alerted to expect multiple deliveries. Reeves studied the evolving scenario. Vega's forces facing Los Lobos while protecting medical transport. A cartel leader choosing military honor over criminal reputation. He's going to lose everything, Rivera observed. Even if he survives, his reputation for invincibility is broken unless we give him another option, Reeves countered. Chen broadcast all tactical channels. Let's show these cartels why you never turn a humanitarian situation into a power play. The facility's external speakers carried Reeves's voice clearly. Both cartels listened as he spoke. FBI teams have coverage of your positions. Sheriff Daniels's units control your escape routes, but 3 medical transports need to complete their mission. Your choice. Be remembered as professionals who respected civilian safety or criminals who endangered mothers and children. Through the command center windows, they watched the impact of his words. Vega's military background weighed honor against pride. Ortega calculated risk versus reputation. Sir, Walsh reported, Los Lobos teams are adjusting positions. They're creating a secondary corridor for the ambulances. Reeves's special forces. Experience recognized the moment. Sometimes victory isn't about defeating an enemy, it's about giving them a better choice. All units maintain current positions. Let's show these cartels why professionals always choose protecting civilians over settling scores. The second ambulance reached the transfer zone as sunlight broke through clearing clouds. In this moment, 2 cartel forces faced a choice between military honor and criminal reputation. The second ambulance cleared the gate zone under the watchful eyes of both cartel forces. Vega's men maintained defensive positions while Los Lobos teams held their fire, neither side willing to be remembered for endangering medical transport. Final ambulance moving into position, Chen reported. Sir, Rivera interrupted, intercepted communication from Ortega's second-in-command. Los Lobos leadership is splitting on this decision. Through security feeds, they watched tension build in the rival cartel's ranks. Some wanted to press the attack, others recognized the cost to their reputation if civilians were harmed. Dr. Mendez's voice carried urgency. Last mother's contractions are 2 minutes apart. We need to move now. Walsh, Reeves ordered. Your teams shadow that ambulance. Sheriff Daniels, status on the canyon crossing. 3 vehicles tried to flank our position, Sheriff Daniels reported. Found out why local knowledge beats cartel tactics. They're not getting through here. In the chapel, Father Miguel led prayers while Torres coordinated civilian protection. Gabriel Hernandez helped maintain calm, his experience with cartel situations proving invaluable. Sir, Chen alerted, new thermal signatures approaching from the east, not cartel. Different movement pattern. The screens showed a professional, tactical team advancing through cover. Their approach suggested specialized training beyond cartel capabilities. Mexican Federal Police, Rivera identified. Special Operations Division. Someone higher up is taking interest. Reeves watched the federales take observation positions. Their presence changed the scenario. Now both cartels faced legitimate law enforcement attention. Chief, Agent Walsh reported, FBI teams intercepted coded transmissions. Los Lobos wasn't just targeting Vega, they're after something in your evidence vault. The tactical picture shifted again. The rival cartel's true objective became clear, using Vega's attack as cover to breach the facility's secure storage. Chen, full scan of the vault area. Rivera, get me everything on recent cartel seizures. The data revealed the prize, documentation of offshore accounts, evidence of political bribes, names of compromised officials, intelligence that could reshape cartel power structures. Torres radioed from his position. Sir, the Hernandez girl drew another picture. Shows vehicles she saw last week near her old school. Same markings as Los Lobos' current vehicles. They've been planning this longer than we thought, Reeves realized. Rivera, background check. Every maintenance worker again. Look for Los Lobos connections. The investigation uncovered a deeper infiltration. While Vega controlled workers through medical leverage, Los Lobos planted their own people months ago. Dr. Mendez's urgent voice broke through. "Chief, we have complications. The mother's blood pressure is spiking." Through facility cameras, they watched the final ambulance approach. Both cartel forces maintained their positions, now aware of federal police presence. "Sir," Chen warned, "movement in the evidence vault section. Someone's accessing it from inside the facility." Reeves checked the security feeds. A maintenance worker they'd cleared earlier now attempted to breach secure storage, Los Lobos' sleeper agent. "They're not carrying equipment," Rivera confirmed. "Planted before Vega started recruiting." The tactical situation grew more complex. Vega's forces protecting medical transport, while Los Lobos played a deeper game. Federal police watching while evidence of cartel corruption hung in the balance. FBI teams report Los Lobos leadership is pulling back, Walsh added. "They're letting regular cartel soldiers take forward positions." "Because they're expendable," Reeves analyzed. "The leaders are distancing themselves now that federales are involved." Father Miguel provided updates from the chapel. "The families are praying for the mothers and their babies. Even in crisis, they remember compassion." Reeves surveyed the full tactical picture. 3 forces in play: Vega's military precision, Los Lobos' hidden agenda, and federal police oversight. Each had different objectives, all affecting civilian safety. "All units," he commanded, "prepare to execute Protocol Sierra. Let's show these organizations why professionals always have one more option than criminals expect." Throughout the facility, tactical teams adjusted positions. Sometimes victory meant giving opponents a choice they didn't know they had. "Sir," Rivera reported, "Vega is requesting direct communication. Says he has information about Los Lobos' real plan." Reeves studied the cartel leader through security feeds. Military training versus criminal ambition battling across his features. "Put him through," Reeves decided. "Sometimes the enemy of your enemy becomes an unexpected ally." The tactical display showed all 3 forces converging around the facility, but in the medical bay, a mother fought to deliver new life, a reminder of what was really at stake. "Chen, broadcast all channels," Reeves ordered. "Time to explain why choosing honor over violence isn't weakness, it's the ultimate show of strength." The facility speakers carried his message to all sides as the final ambulance approached the gate. Professional soldiers and cartel criminals faced the same choice: protect the innocent or preserve their reputation. Vega's voice came through the secure channel, each word measured with military precision. "Los Lobos isn't after current evidence. They want something from a seizure 6 months ago, files about political bribes in Mexico City. Why tell us now?" Reeves questioned, watching tactical displays track movement around the facility. "Because Ortega doesn't work for Los Lobos. He's military intelligence, deep cover. If those files go public, it exposes operations on both sides of the border." Reeves exchanged glances with Rivera. This transformed the situation from cartel in conflict to international incident. "Chief," Chen alerted, "federal police are establishing sniper positions. They're not just observing anymore." Through security feeds, they watched the Mexican Special Operations teams deploy with professional efficiency, adding another layer to an already complex situation. Dr. Mendez's voice broke through. "Final mother is prepped for transport, but the baby's heartbeat is irregular. We need to move immediately." "Sir," Agent Walsh reported, "FBI teams confirm Vega's intel. Ortega matches photos of a Mexican intelligence officer who disappeared 3 years ago." The tactical picture shifted again, not just protecting civilians and securing evidence, but preventing an international scandal that could destabilize border relations. Father Miguel radioed from the chapel. "The Hernandez family is agitated. Gabriel says he recognizes one of the federal police officers, someone connected to corruption. In his town." Reeves studied the surveillance footage. Rivera, check that officer against our cartel database. The search revealed another layer. Some federal police units compromised by cartel payoffs, others genuinely trying to maintain order. But which? A team arrived today, sir? Torres alerted. Movement in the evidence vault section. The sleeper agent is accessing old case files. Through facility cameras, they watch the maintenance worker methodically searching archived evidence. Not random. Theft, but a targeted operation. They're not approaching. Reeves corrected Chen's warning about teams splitting up. They're escaping with copied files. Rivera, coordinate with Walsh. Block every exit point. Dr. Mendez supervised the final mother's transfer to the ambulance. Her blood pressure still elevated. We need clear access to the hospital. Reeves surveyed the evolving situation. Vega's forces maintaining their position. Los Lobos teams creating chaos. Federal police waiting to intervene. And intelligence operatives hiding among them all. Sir, Rivera reported. Ramirez provided new information. The hospital controlling medical care. It's funded by intelligence agencies. They're using cartel leverage to gather information. The complex web of loyalty and betrayal grew clearer. Every organization playing multiple angles, civilians caught in the middle. Cristina Vega's news crew continued broadcasting, their presence now serving multiple agendas. Chief, Walsh added, FBI tactical teams spotted familiar faces in the federal police unit. Some worked border security last year during the corruption investigation. Reeves watched the professional officers take position. Their training showed in their movements, but their loyalty remained unclear. Chen analyzed their equipment. Rivera checked their unit patches against recent federal deployments. The investigation revealed inconsistencies. Some officers wearing outdated gear, others carrying non-standard weapons. A mixed unit cobbled together for this operation. Torres radioed from his position. Sir, Gabriel Hernandez remembers something else. The corrupt officer he recognized. He coordinated with both cartels, playing them against each other. Through tactical displays, they watched the federal police unit spread out. Not standard containment procedure, but something more strategic. They're not here to arrest anyone, Reeves realized. They're here to ensure certain evidence never reaches. The public, Dr. Mendez's urgent voice cut through. Chief, we're losing the baby's heartbeat. Need priority clearance now. Reeves studied all forces in play, cartels, intelligence operatives, compromised police, each with their own agenda, none prioritizing civilian safety. All units, he commanded, execute Protocol Omega. Sometimes the best tactical advantage is letting your opponents reveal themselves. Throughout the facility, teams shifted position. Years of Special Forces experience taught Reeves that complex situations required simple truths. Protect the innocent, maintain honor, let enemies expose their own weakness. Sir, Chen warned. Multiple thermal signatures converging on the evidence vault. Different approach patterns, but same objective. Because they all want the same thing, Reeves responded. Rivera, get me a direct line to the federal police commander. Time to explain why trying to control everything means losing control completely. The final ambulance waited at the gate while forces gathered around the facility, each group thinking they understood the situation, none realizing they were playing into Reeves's strategy. The federal police commander's voice crackled through. The secure line, each word carefully measured. Chief Reeves, we're here to contain a potential international incident. Those files cannot leave the facility. Interesting choice of words, Reeves responded, watching multiple teams approach the evidence vault. Not secure the files, but contain them. Through security feeds, they observed 3 separate groups converging on the evidence vault. Los Lobos operatives, federal police units, and the facility's sleeper agent, each thinking they understood the situation. Vault security systems detecting unauthorized access attempts, Chen alerted. Someone's using high-level clearance codes. Because they're real codes, Rivera added, checking the database. from last month's Joint Task Force operation. Reeves studied the pattern. They're not just trying to steal evidence. They're trying to make it look like an authorized transfer. Dr. Mendez's voice cut through with urgency. Baby's heartbeat stabilized, but mother's blood pressure critical. We need to move. FBI teams have identified 3 separate breaching points around the vault, Walsh reported. Professional equipment, military-grade charges. Through tactical displays, they watched the complex operation unfold, each force thinking they were in control, none realizing they were exposing their true objectives. Father Miguel radioed quietly. Gabriel Hernandez recognized another face. One of the federal officers was present when his school received cartel threats. Cross-reference that officer, Reeves ordered. Check him against both task force rosters and cartel payroll data. The search revealed a disturbing pattern. Law enforcement officials working both sides, using their positions to manipulate evidence and intelligence. Torres alerted from his position. Movement in the maintenance corridors. Someone's accessing the old tunnel network. Not accessing, Reeves corrected. Escaping. They already have what they came for. Chen, thermal scan of all exit routes. The imaging showed multiple heat signatures moving through the facility's underground network. Not random movement, but coordinated extraction. Lisa Vasquez's news crew captured federal police units maintaining their perimeter, their presence, meant to look like official response while hiding deeper motives. Martinez provided new details, Rivera reported. The hospital network isn't just gathering intelligence. They're storing backups of cartel financial records. Reeves connected. The pieces, medical leverage and financial blackmail, a perfect control system. Walsh, get me satellite coverage of every hospital in their network. The tactical picture expanded. Not just a border facility under siege, but part of a larger operation using humanitarian services for intelligence gathering. Mother's condition deteriorating, Dr. Mendez reported. Need immediate clearance for emergency route. Through facility cameras, they watched federal police units adjust positions, their movement suggesting not just containment, but preparation for evidence disposal. Vault security detecting data transfer, Chen warned. Someone's copying files to an external drive. Let them, Reeves responded. Rivera, activate Protocol Echo. Time to show them why you never trust digital evidence without verification. Throughout the facility, secure systems engaged. Years of dealing with cartel technology had taught Reeves the value of prepared deception. Harris radioed, sharing the Hernandez girl's drawing showing one of the federal police vehicles matching. Cartel transport seen at her school. Reeves studied the surveillance footage, realizing they weren't just cooperating with cartels, but providing official cover for operations. Chen, get me clean shots of every vehicle registration. The investigation revealed careful manipulation. Official vehicles used for unofficial operations, legitimate credentials hiding illegitimate activities. FBI teams intercepted encrypted communication, Walsh reported. Someone's coordinating, all 3 groups playing them against each other. Through command center windows, they watched rival forces maintain positions, each following their own agenda, all being manipulated by hidden players. Father Miguel provided updates. Families sensed the tension but trusted in protection. Their faith reminded everyone what they were really fighting for. Reeves surveyed the tactical situation, forces converging on the vault, evidence being secretly copied, federal police preparing for containment, and a mother's life hanging. In balance, execute final protocol, Delta, he commanded. Sometimes the best way to expose corruption is letting it think it's won. Throughout the facility, carefully prepared measures activated. Reeves's Special Forces experience taught him that complex conspiracies have one critical weakness. They never expect simple honor to defeat complicated deception. Multiple teams breaching vault security, Rivera alerted. They're about to find out exactly what they're really stealing. Reeves allowed himself a grim smile. Years of protecting borders taught him the most important lesson. Sometimes the strongest defense isn't what you protect, but what you let your enemies think they're taking. Broadcast all channels, he ordered. Time to explain why you never trust stolen evidence without understanding who really wants you to have it. The facility speakers carried his message as rival forces converged on their target, each about to learn why a special forces veteran in charge of a border facility means facing an opponent who's already won the battle they don't realize they're fighting. The vault security system signaled successful access as multiple teams converged. Data transfers began immediately, each group thinking they were securing vital intelligence. File transfer at 70%, Chen reported, monitoring the digital theft. They're copying everything to secured drives. Through security feeds, they watched. The federal police commander's expression shift from confidence to confusion as he reviewed the downloaded files on his tablet. Those aren't cartel records, Rivera observed. That's evidence of police corruption across 3 states. Reeves nodded grimly. Because real cartel intelligence is worthless without proof of who's protecting them. Walsh, signal your teams. Time to identify who reacts first. The FBI tactical units maintained position while corrupt officers revealed themselves. Some immediately attempting to delete files, others frantically radioing superiors. Mother experiencing severe complications, Dr. Mendez reported urgently. Need emergency transport clearance now. Sir, Torres alerted. Gabriel Hernandez noticed something. The federal officer he recognized. He's trying to reach the maintenance tunnels. Reeves checked the thermal imaging. Because that's his assigned escape route. Rivera, coordinate with Sheriff Daniels, blocked the tunnel network's south exit. Through facility cameras, they observed Los Lobos operatives, realizing their intelligence mission had backfired. The files they were stealing exposed their own political protection network. Multiple communication bursts detected, Chen warned. They're calling for backup. Let them, Reeves responded. Every call traces back to compromised officials. Walsh, your intelligence team's getting all this? Yes, sir, the FBI agent confirmed. 3 years of anti-corruption investigation coming together in minutes. Father Miguel radioed from the chapel. The Hernandez family has identified 4 more officers, all connected to cartel operations in their region. Reeves studied tactical displays showing desperate men making predictable mistakes. Rivera, log every identification, build the connection map. Throughout the facility, corrupt officers and cartel operatives scrambled to contain their exposure, each action revealing deeper layers of conspiracy. Lisa Vasquez's news crew captured federal police units breaking formation, some maintaining professional discipline, others revealing panic that marked compromised agents. Vault data transfer complete, Chen alerted. They're realizing what they actually downloaded. The surveillance feeds showed Vega reviewing the files, his military training recognizing the tactical shift. His forces adjusted position, now facing both Los Lobos and corrupt federal units. Movement in the evidence vault, Torres reported. They're attempting to access the physical files. Physical files were relocated last week, Reeves revealed. Standard procedure during maintenance work. Rivera, show them what they're actually guarding. The vault's secondary security activated, revealing empty storage units. The real evidence secured long before today's operation began. Baby's heartbeat dropping, Dr. Mendez warned. Mother needs immediate hospital care. Through command center. Windows, they watched the complex situation unravel. Corrupt officers exposed, cartel operations compromised, and lives hanging in balance. FBI teams confirm multiple arrests at border checkpoints, Walsh added. Officials trying to flee as files reach their superiors. Reeves surveyed the tactical situation. Years of special forces experience taught him that sophisticated enemies expect sophisticated traps. They never anticipate simple truth as the ultimate weapon.